This is a brief and broad overview of Unit 1-2 Psychology. Now, the common misconception of psychology as an academic discipline is that it's all about therapy and mental illness. And that's certainly a part of VCE Psych, a small part, but psychology is so much more. So, derived from the Greek word, the study of the mind, the contemporary definition of psychology is the study of behaviour and mental processes. So keep that in mind before you buy into the subject. In terms of what psychology attempts to do, describe behaviour, predict it, control it, etc. And again, that basically scaffolds the course as we know it. Now, in terms of the content, Unit 1 has very much a biological theme. So we start off with historical approaches to understanding the brain, looking at the brain versus the heart debate, phrenology, ablation, neuroimaging, CAT scans, MRIs, etc. Then we look at the functionality of the divisions of the nervous system, starting with the two major divisions, central and peripheral, etc. We put heavy emphasis on the brain, the key structures, hindbrain, forebrain, midbrain, with a heavy emphasis on the workings of the cerebral cortex, four lobes, the sensory areas, etc. Then we look at how the brain evolves from infancy through to adolescence, some of the major sequential changes that occur, and adaptive plasticity in terms of how the brain can change as a result of compensating for damage. We go into quite a bit of detail about development, cognitive, social, emotional, psychosocial, and then at the back end of Unit 1 we look at, probably for a lot of students, the most interesting part of the course. We look at explaining the notion of mental health versus mental illness, looking at a variety of disorders. In terms of what we cover in Unit 2, less emphasis on the biological component of psychology, apart from the early stuff that we cover on sensation versus perception, with a heavy emphasis on taste and visual perception. And then we go into social psychology, social cognition, and social influences. In terms of some FAQs that I regularly get asked, particularly at open days, etc., do you need to be good at maths at psychology? Well, no, you don't. You just need to be able to do some basic calculations like measures of central tendency, maybe means, medians, modes, possibly presenting graphs in a research investigation report, bar graphs, etc. But the mathematical component is really watered down at the VCE level. Psychology is not a prereq for Unit 3-4. I strongly encourage students to do 1-2, mainly to, I guess, develop the skills that are going to be applied in Unit 3-4, particularly the research skills. So I'll repeat, it's not a prerequisite. It's just a good leg up that'll help you for Unit 3-4. In terms of assessment, probably my best advice there would be to look at the study design, because there's different choices and that's going to vary from school to school. Although schools are required to have students do a practical investigation that's going to look something like this. So you're going to have to introduce a concept, come up with a hypothesis, an IV, a DV, go through the methodology, the sampling method, research design, present some data in the form of results, and then come up with a conclusion. I hope that helps.